matter. And this is the Gospel Radar segment of this show, where we normally have amazing guests in studio with us to debunk and challenge us to understand more about our subject for the day. But of course, if you're joining us for the very first time, welcome to the Youthalive family. We believe that this show is going to touch your life and change your life, as well as transform your life. If you are not certain whether someone who you believe should be watching this show is watching this show, run it down to our social media platforms. That is at Google.tv Uganda. Like, share, comment, grab that link and send it to them. Tell them to tune in right about now. The Youthalive show is on. Of course, as usual, we normally have our studio lines running on our screen. In case you'd love to contribute to our subject for the day, you can call in or send us a WhatsApp message telling us what you think with regards to what we're discussing today. But that's not all you're going to be hearing from me today. Of course, I have two amazing gentlemen in studio with me today who are going to help us analyze this particular topic. Now, today we are talking about how best we can prepare for this year 2025. Most people say Jan is for writing New Year's resolutions. When Feb comes, that's when we shall start implementing them. I hope you're not that person, because as soon as you write them down, you ought to begin, because it starts with planning. You may not put the actions into it, but best get ready for the year in order for you to achieve all these New Year's resolutions that you have set for yourselves. So let us get to meet our guests for today. I'm going to give them a chance to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about themselves. Then we'll dive right into our discussion for the day. You're most welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Youthalive show today, the Gospel Radar. Please introduce yourselves to our audience.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jen. Good evening, all the viewers of Gugude TV. My name is David Kafambe. I'm from Kitezi, the country director for Kitezi Samaritan, and I'm very happy to be here and share my thoughts of how to plan for this year. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Madam Presenter, viewers and everybody who is viewing us. I'm Joas Mulindwa by name. Aluvatu Kabaganda, RSC1 Chairman, Pastor, God's Power, Revival Ministry, Kitezi. I'm happy to be here this evening.
You're most welcome. Allow me call you Pastor Mulindwa.
Any of the two, chairman or pastor? Any
Okay.
of the two.
I think I'll be switching between chairman and pastor.
Yeah.
But
I'm
thank you
both.
so much. Thank you so much for joining us
You're
today.
welcome.
Now, from your different perspectives, I would like to get right into our subject for the day. Most times at the beginning of the year, like I said, we are making New Year's resolutions. We're writing about things that we would like to achieve this year. So I want to first pass the question over to you so that our audience can relate. What are some of the things, or what is that one thing out of everything else that you have planned to do or achieve this year that you're working towards, or you've started working towards? I think let me start with Pastor.
Thank you very much, Madam Presenter. As per our topic today, how best can we prepare for 2025? First of all, as a leader, we prepare our people to get into or to get engaged in businesses, protection of their lives, how to take children to school, because we are preparing for a new term. People are running to and fro looking for money. But as leaders, we help them maybe to find sponsorship, bursaries, and so on. We are the sources of where they can get money. Money lenders who have lenient or soft terms, because money is always not there. But during such a time, people are on panic, looking here and there, looking for money. But as leaders, we have to help them, to guide them as to how they can go about them. As a pastor, we always pray for the nation, for the children, the people. We read in order for God to fulfill their plans, because the preparation lies in the hand of man, but the fulfillment comes from the Lord. So we do both. and we are grateful that we are here to talk to maybe to a larger number of people who is now viewing us and listening to us. So we are very grateful to be here.
Amen. Thank you so much, Pastor. And I believe that's a beautiful perspective with regards to being a pastor and a leader. Our preparation is not just for ourselves, but it's for everyone who is going to be affected by whether or not we have chosen to prepare for a particular year or not. Over to you, Mr. David.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jen. Before I share what my plans are for this year, I want to first congratulate those who received their results for PROE today.
Yes.
For my organization, Kitez Samaritan, we had around 10. We are paying school fees for over 100 children in that community. But we had 10 who sat for PROE, and they performed well. I'm very proud of them.
Yes.
I'm very happy and hope that they are able to achieve their dreams. And now looking at me, myself as a leader of an organization in Kitezi, one of my plans this year is to have more people, because for us, we believe in education. We want to have more children attain education. So my focus this year is going to be, how do we get more people to come and join hands with us, and we are able to educate as many children in this community, because Uganda needs people to be educated, and we have a role, everyone in our own capacity, to support that kind of vision. So I'm looking forward to ensuring that I have more children. I want to mentor more children. I want to mentor more youth and work with them and make sure that they are able to achieve their dreams.
Wow, that is beautiful. And I love the perspective that you're both coming from, because it says a lot how our preparation affects the different people around us. Whether you're an individual, whether you're staying alone, whether you're staying with your family, whether you're married or single, the preparation or the plans that you have for yourself tend to affect the people around you and the people who come in contact with you. So I think we should be mindful of that every single time that we are planning for a new year. For those of you who are watching, please feel free to call in or send us a message. Our studio lines will be running on our screen. What or how best are you preparing for this year, 2025? We would love to hear from you as well. Of course, you can also run it down to our social medias. That is at Google TV Uganda. Drop a comment and tell us how you are preparing for the year 2025. Now, we've talked about the things we're planning to do and how we're planning to prepare for the year 2025. My next question would be in lines to, what are some of the practical things you do while you're preparing for a particular year or for a different project, or generally preparing, like we're preparing for this year 2025? What are some of the practical things that you do to prepare for the year? Yes, Mr. David.
Yeah, I will start by sharing a story, because I'm one of those that have always had every year I come up with a resolution.
Yeah.
And this has been going on for so many years. But I realized that we come up with these resolutions at the beginning of the year, and then
after
along the way, after Jan, we start veering off from what we planned. So there's so much motivation when you are starting there.
Yeah.
Because you're looking at a new year, you have all these big dreams. For the youth, some of them have the big dreams of, making sure that they are starting businesses. For those who are in schools, they have the big dreams of performing very well. But then along the way, we are not able to track these big dreams. The truth of the matter is that whatever big dream everyone has, it is very, very hard to achieve it if you don't break it down into small steps. I normally call them baby steps. And it took me a very long time to understand that every big dream you have to break it down. So it means that if we are starting this year, we are talking about 365 days. It means that every day you have to do something to contribute to that dream that you have. And that is very critical. And it took me a very long time to understand that, because a big dream, I want to start a business. I want to start a business of 10 million. It's very hard for a young person to raise that kind of money. A young person wants to, maybe some of them want to achieve and they pass very well. It's hard for you to to wait for the end of the year and then you are able to study hard. It starts with, if you are in school and you want to be the best in your class, it takes every day, taking just 30 minutes, revising and understanding and building it up. So for me, I normally use the analogy, and this you can always try it at home. I want you to put a bucket in your bathroom, and then you allow the tap to just keep dropping a drop after every 1 minute, a drop after every 1 minute. I can assure you that by morning, that bucket would be full of water. And that is what we normally forget when we are coming up with our dreams. We want to make sure that you wake up in the morning and the bucket is full without you taking those baby steps. So for me, it starts with taking the baby steps. But that should not stop you from having that big dream. Because the big dream is what we all need. I want you to dream big. But when it comes to implementing, take it by small, step by step. You are going to get there. And when I go to that point, when I understood that I want to do whatever I want to do, but I have to start small. When we're starting our work in Kitezi, we didn't start with 100 children, supporting them with education. We didn't start with over 100 people who are getting through our program. We started by just a few people, 5, 10, 20. You keep building it. Now this year we are talking about more than 100. In 5 years, we shall be talking about 500. Before you know it, everyone will be benefiting through our program. But it starts by that baby step. And I will be expounding on it as we move along.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you so much for that. It really reminds us that it's the little things, the little achievements that matter. And most times we rate ourselves based on the lump sum of the work that has to be done. And we forget the far that we have gone, and the fact that what we thought was a 100-mile journey is now an 85-mile journey. That is progress in itself. So I think that is really, really, really beautiful. Pastor.
Yes, madam.
What are some of the practical things you would do as a leader, as a pastor? What are some of the practical things that you do to prepare yourself for a new year?
Thank you very much, madam. As both a pastor and a leader, there is a lot to do. First of all, to look at the people you lead and to see how you can take them into prosperous business, hopeful life, and maybe turning them to the Lord, because we are living now. It is now an end time. People are perverted from the Lord. People have a lot of thoughts that can maybe lead them into frustrations. When you look at the youth, they have big dreams, but the implementation is always difficult because of, first of all, they have this mentality of saying that there are no jobs. We have nowhere to be engaged, particularly boys. For girls, they can engage themselves into any simple businesses where they can earn a little living. But for boys, they are frustrated. They spend most of their times in the things that cannot go, which are not going to help them, like sports ideas, knowing best players in the world, playing pool, politics and whatever. So we have a problem of those youth boys, because they are not here. First of all, we have a big work of sensitizing them into what can help them, because time is a resource, but most of their time is wasted in doing things that are not going to help them. So we have a big task to sensitize them, to educate them, to mentor them. But the problem, they don't want to attend meetings. Whenever we call them or we invite them into sensitization meetings, they don't turn up. They turn up in a poor number. So it's some challenging that sometimes we don't get to them. We have to be creative to put things like football matches, things that they're interested in. It's just trapping them into what we want to do, into what we want them to do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it is so challenging these days. Politics has taken up the youth, and 80% of their thoughts and whatever is politics. So we have to bring them slowly by slowly, to preach to them, to sensitize them, to look for people who can help them, like it is Samaritan. Allow me to thank my director, Chitezi Samaritan. Mr. Kafambe, David has done a very great job. We commend him for all what he has done in our community. As leaders, we thank the government to fulfill some of its responsibilities. But at times we find out that they fail somehow, somewhere to fulfill their responsibilities. But when we get such a people who have generous thoughts toward the others,
Yeah.
to bring up the needy, it supplements to the responsibility of the government. He has done a lot, and I'm clapping for him all the time, because the community was lacking so many things. We had the garbage dumping site there. People were earning a living from there. The place is very dirty, and it was disorganized. But when he came in, he organized those people into a hopeful group, and they were doing well, not until we got a crisis that everybody heard about in Uganda. So we are in a very bad situation. The government has not yet responded to what it promised to do to them. So they are frustrated, but we still thank God for that, because they have somebody who is doing what? He made us into a group that is helping us a lot. So we thank him very much, and we thank the donors who put their money in that project. And it is very helpful to we as leaders, spiritual leaders, and the government leaders. Thank you very much.
Amen. Yes, Mr. David.
Yes, I want to say something very, very fast, and I want to say around 4 things. One is that when it comes to success, success is not something that you achieve by just sitting there.
Yeah.
You are going to find so many obstacles along the way. And Chairman Mulindo has just spoken about what happened to us in Ikitezi. And many people were looking at that as something which is really, like their world has come to an end. But for me, I understand success, that it comes with obstacles. So how someone who succeeds is one who is going to move from one failure to another. You try this, it fails. You try the other, it fails. So all the young people who are here, we are talking about planning for this year. For you to achieve the success, you need to start thinking about how do you prepare for the hurdles, the challenges along the way, and then start coming up, be resilient, be strong, and overcome those hurdles. That's number one. Then number 2 is that when you know exactly where you are going, you know that my vision at the end of the year, I should be able to achieve this. How do I start now? Even when the obstacles are coming my way, my eye is on the big dream that I have. So my focus is, how do I get to that big dream? And that also requires looking for people who have gone through it. People who have gone through the challenges. We call them mentors. So many young people don't have mentors. When you don't have a mentor, it's going to be really hard. You need someone who is going to hold you accountable. Whatever you do, if you come up with your dream this year, that my goal this year is, for example, to start a business of 5 million. Just an example. Share that with someone that you trust. We call them mentors. Someone who is going to work with you and support you, who is going to hold you accountable. And these mentors are going to be looking at you every month, because for me, when I'm your mentor, I don't wait to ask you how far you've gone on your dream at the end of the year. I'll start asking you from the beginning, 1 month, what have you done about your goal for this year?
Yeah.
2 months later. So someone is keeping you accountable, and they are building you and supporting you to go as far as you can. The other thing that you could also think about is every day start thinking about a new skill that you can learn. As young people, I like the idea that I like soccer. I spend time watching football,
Yeah.
but I also divide my time in also learning. That is leisure. But I also have to learn. There's so much that you can learn on the internet.
Yes.
Yeah, of course, there are so many bad things on the internet, but there are so many opportunities on YouTube. You can learn so much. You can learn every skill. A new skill doesn't mean you have to go to class and study.
Yeah.
So many young people want to go to university and spend time there. You can learn the skill from the internet, every bundle that you buy, you divide it into, watching some comedy
Yeah.
and having fun, but at the same time learning a new skill.
Yeah.
You keep upgrading and making yourself better. When you do all this put together is what now creates you to succeed. Success is not one thing only. It's a combination of so many things put together, and you are working and ensuring that you are putting them together and working together to make it happen. That's the quick I can build on what Pastor Mulindo has just shared, because we get so much into our challenges, the obstacles, and we forget that for you to get to success, you are going to go through those obstacles.
Yeah.
Those obstacles are those that are testing you. But with the moment you keep overcoming these obstacles, that's when you're now able to see success. So that's what I can build on from what Pastor Mulindo has just shared.
Wow, that is beautiful. And I think you hinted on what my next question was going to be, because I know every single time we make plans, the fact is, as human beings, there are always going to be distractions, no matter how hard we try. So my next question was going to revolve around accountability and why it's important to have accountability and support around you. Because most times when you write all these different visions, like you said, it's a lot of excitement. We have so many dreams, so many visions for a new year where like we can start over, we can do better this year compared to the previous year. But now we're trying to set ourselves for the new year. But very briefly, with regards to accountability and support, why is it important for a youth to have someone they're accountable to while they're making their plans for a new year, and get support from people who can help them with regards to their New Year's resolutions for a particular year? I think let's start with Pastor.
Thank you very much, Madam. The challenge we have, the youth of today have put a big gap between the elders and themselves.
That's very true.
I always tell them that you are wiser than me, but I'm more understanding than you because of the experience I have in the field. But these days, another challenge we have is that the youth of today want to get quick money.
Very true.
Yet they don't want to work.
Yeah.
When they look at a man like me who has worked for over 40 years, they want to possess the same things I have.
Yeah.
That's why they they go into temptation is to do wrong things because they want quick money. And they don't know. Instead of coming to me and asking me, Muzei, how have you done it? You want to drive the car like the chairman drives. I want to be in there to read the life for Mr. Kafambe reads. And regardless of the background, all the efforts that Mr. Kafamba has put to attain the level on which he is. So that challenge is there, and that mentality of there is no work. I appeal to the youth of today. Creativity, even if you are holding papers can be there, and you are engaged in you can be engaged in nowhere. But meanwhile, you are looking for for a better job. Start with the simple one that is available for you. Even if you work for 10,000 a day, that's money that can keep you moving on until you do what? We parents, we have a problem. You pay school fees for your children, and when they get their papers, getting a job or jobs is also a problem. But before you get a job, help the parent who has been buying shirts for you, pants for you during school time. Even after you feel a pain that even after paying school fees for somebody, and it becomes a what somebody in the what in the education world, it still looks at you.
Yeah.
That I don't have this. Give me 2,000 to buy new newspapers to look for what job opportunities. So I call upon the youth to be creative.
Yeah.
Whatever job come your way, don't despise jobs. Whatever job or whatever chance come your way, as my fellow has said, that even if you have a big dream, start with what? But digest it into small what? Into small pieces, into bits, that when I achieve this today, when I say I want a capital of 1M,
Yes.
you are not going to get it one day.
Yeah.
You go. For boys, you can go and work on buildings.
Yeah,
You can
construction
whatever
sites.
all those odd jobs. But the youth of today don't want to do what? To get engaged in those what?
Yeah.
In those small jobs, particularly those who have gone to school.
Yeah.
They say they feel that they are big. When he goes, I'm so and so's son. When I go and work on that building, they look at me as somebody who hasn't gone to school. So you have that challenge. But I appeal to them that whatever job you do, for as long as it can bring something into your pocket, do it. Until you get a better job,
Yeah.
which is going to satisfy you. But these days they keep idling there, moving from gossiping around, doing this and that, sitting on some others people's shops, trading whatever is not going to help them. So I appeal to them that do whatever job comes your way until you get a better job. Thank
Wow,
you.
that is beautiful. Thank you so much, Pastor. Yes, Mr. David.
Yeah, that was a very important question, because one of the reasons why we come up with our resolutions and then we don't achieve them is because two things. You just have it in your mind, you have it in your thoughts, so you've not written it down. Then number two, you don't have someone who is going to hold you accountable, who is going to make you, because when you share with someone you trust, that person is going to, you know that I will have to keep doing it because someone is looking forward for me to achieving it.
Yeah.
So having an accountability partner, it could also be, you don't have to look even for someone much older. You may not be able to find this people, maybe they are also very busy. It could be also a peer. But that also calls for another very important aspect for a young person, is the kind of people that you have.
Yeah.
Because if you have your friends are people who are thinking not the same way you are thinking, they are thinking of spending time, enjoying life, which is good, but they are not thinking in how do you progress, how do you make yourself better, then they cannot be good accountability partners. You want someone who is going to be pushing you, who is going to make you better, who is going to ensure that you succeed. Those are the accountability partners. So for every young person, whatever goal that you have for this year, start looking for the people who are going to support that goal and who are going to push you, who are going to keep asking you how far you've gone with that kind of goal. That is important. That is very, very important to do, because then it helps you to, when I have someone who is keeping constantly reminding me, then it keeps me pushing. I can even achieve my goal within even the first part of the year. But if you wait, if you are there on your own, you see people start now waiting towards the end of the year, and they remember that they had this goal, and then the last month of the year they remember that they had a goal which they never even wrote down.
Yeah.
You've written it down, you have it pinned somewhere, you have someone keeping reminding you, someone who is holding you accountable, it pushes you to even achieve that goal. So it's important to have an accountability partner.
Wow, that is beautiful. And I believe, like Pastor said, most times we have this place where we have that age difference, that generational gap, and most of the young people are not really talking to the older generation, or like their parents or their uncles, their aunties who have gone through all these different things. We keep claiming, oh, they don't understand the things we're going through. They do not understand technology and all that. But it's not just about technology. It's about your character as a person. Because I believe take away everything else and it still comes back to the relationships that we have with people, technology aside and everything new aside. So I believe that's important. And having accountability partners as well pushes us to avoid certain things. Now, if you would like to contribute to our conversation, yet again, our studio lines are open. Feel free to call in or send us a WhatsApp message and tell us how you personally are preparing for the year 2025. Of course, if you're streaming live on our social media platforms, drop a comment and tell us how you are preparing for the year 2025. One of the challenges that young people face, apart from, despising jobs and all, let's talk about procrastination. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next month. I'll do it 2 months from now. Okay, next becomes next, and we are 2 years later, nothing has changed. What are some of the ways a youth or a person out there can avoid procrastination and stay focused or stay motivated towards achieving their goals for the year 2025? Yes, Pastor.
Thank you thank you again, Madam. Maybe another problem we did not look at is that there is what we call a goal, and the admiration, and maybe aspiration is. Most of the youth have what we call maybe admiration is. When you look at somebody, successful, they do admire those people, but they don't put a goal. Somebody who has a goal, he always moves toward that goal. But as I earlier said that we have to sensitize those youth. And the challenge we have, they don't want to come to meetings. When you call them to meetings, they don't come. But there is a gap I'm seeing that, like Mr. Kafamba's dad has gathered people, it is easy for him to put them or to impart in them whatever he wants to do to put in them. But when you don't get in touch with them, you can, even if you have good ideas, they don't want, particularly these school dropouts. They become frustrated. They take themselves as they are useless. They can be taken into any other thing like politics. I always talk to the youth that politics is not bad. You are right, but the way you engage in it is sometimes dangerous, and it is not going to help you at the level you are. But I would say that, or I will call upon them to have mentors, as he has said. Most of them don't have mentors. As I said, that there is a gap between elders and those youth. So maybe it calls for a need to go back and see or pave new ways as to how we can help them. Otherwise, when we don't do it, they are going into bad businesses, and they develop habits and whatever. Sometimes that can lead them into battling with the law, and they end up in prisons because of not getting people who can help them. So I call upon them to utilize elders around them.
Thank you so much, Pastor. Yes, Mr. David.
Yeah, you asked a very good question about procrastination, and that challenge is not only for the youth; it's for everyone. All of us have found ourselves. I struggled with procrastination for very many years, because procrastination means that you keep postponing. You have a task that you have to do right now, and you want to do it the next day. And when the next day comes, you feel like it can wait for another day. And in the process, you keep losing time. Before you know it, something that you're supposed to have done last week, you end up doing it 6 months later. You've lost time and you are not achieving what you want to do. So it's a big challenge, and it's for everyone, including young people, including even adults, people, or even much older people. And that is one of the reasons that has made us to fail to achieve our dreams. Now I'm going to share with you some few tips of how to overcome procrastination. Number one is to visualize the future. If you say, this is what I want to see, visualizing means you start now looking at where you want to go. You set a vision, and every day see yourself moving towards that vision. Number two, start moving, because what makes us it could even be when you are to wake up from bed. You've planned to wake up at 6, but then you feel like it's cold, you don't want to wake up. Sometimes you just have to force yourself. I do that all the time. I feel like I don't want to get out of bed, but all the time I just move out. So just start and do it. Number 3, set deadlines for yourself. And this takes me to what I had mentioned a little bit earlier. When you break down that bigger vision, for example, I want to start walking from here to Mukono. It is going to be hard for me to start just walking and I know I will reach Mukono.
Yeah.
I start by breaking it down and say, in the next 5 minutes, I should be somewhere on Kampala Road. After 1 hour, I should be in Nakawa. So you break it down and set deadlines broken down that moves you towards your big dream. Now for students, because on this show we have very many students who watch this show. I've had good feedback from my communities. For the students, it also procrastination requires even setting a timer, knowing that I'm going to do this between this time and this time, and then you do it. And then you also avoid distractions. The biggest issue that puts us to procrastinate, that makes us not even to achieve what we want to do, is that we have so many distractions. You have social media around you. You have a task to do, but you spend all your time on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Snapchat. That can take you your time. When you avoid distractions and create time, because this is social media, we need it. We are in a digital era where everyone needs social media, but give it time and say, for me, between this time and this time, for me, for example, I answer my WhatsApp messages between 9 and 11 p.m. During the day, I'm not on WhatsApp. You send me WhatsApp, I don't respond. But I'm also on WhatsApp because I have a time which I dedicate for answering my WhatsApp and discussing with the people very important issues. So these distractions, give them time and say, I will do them within this time, and this time I want to be productive. That way, you start now working towards achieving your goals. So procrastination is something we need to fight, because it is what is keeping us where we are. It is not making us to achieve what we want to achieve.
Yeah, that is beautiful. Thank you so much, Mr. David. I believe if you've been listening closely, you have learned a lot from what the chairman had to say and what Mr. David has said all through this particular show. I hope you are taking notes, like Mr. David said. Do not just have them in your mind and assume you'll remember everything. Make sure that you write down everything that you're planning to do this year. And of course, write down some of the different tips that we've been talking about all through the show. Now, we've come to the end of the Gospel Radar segment. I believe we have discussed as much as we could within this particular time frame. But before we go, a big shout out to Jacqueline Chisache, watching on Facebook. She says, thanks for the program. Thank you so much for watching, Jacqueline. We are grateful for your support. Finally, I want to give you a chance to send greetings to our audience who is watching before we can wrap up this segment. Yes, Mr. David.
For me, everything that I do, I'm only thinking about the people of Kitezi, and I send my greetings to everyone who is watching from Kitezi. I love you so much, and I pray that God helps us to achieve much more in this year. I have also a team in the US from International Samaritan who are always following our work and supporting us. So I send my greetings to them.
Thank you so much. Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Madam Jane. I send my greetings to all members of Kasangati Town Council, our leaders, my fellow leaders, all leaders to all levels. I send greetings to you, and I wish you a very happy new year and prosperous one. Taking some of the tips we have hinted on to help you achieving better in this new year. God bless you.
Amen. Thank you so much. The Youthalive show is still going forward. We shall be diving into the Spin It Up segment of this show. We are still talking about how you can prepare for the year 2025. But of course, we are telling you where you can be and the different places you can go to in order to grow spiritually as you prepare for this year 2025. We're going to have a short musical break and we shall be right back to enjoy the rest of the show. Of course, Saula Nation UG is in